Hello, it's Blockchain here coming at you with another technical analysis update. For those of you just tuning in, I'm primarily an Elliott Wave trader using other areas of Confluence and other technical analysis to really complement my price analysis. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the charts. Alright guys, so sorry, I'm going to try and make this video fairly quick. This is actually my third time. We keep on having some issues, but of course we will start off on my website here, blockchaintatrading.com. It's actually also in a link right below the video where I am currently giving away my #1 trading strategy for free. So if you scroll down here, click to get in touch, you'll actually get a free demonstration of my #1 trading strategy that is consistent, profitable, reliable, and applicable to any market. It's going to be a video walkthrough how to set it up, how to trade it, and things to look for. You can also come up here, create a little profile, and then on your drop down options under members exclusive, it is going to be right here on this page as well. As I'm going to be uploading new content. This is been a work in progress. I am constantly updating this thing, but I'll be putting new content in here for trading strategies, educational courses, all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you guys jump in now. And then also want to highlight a few things in the Discord as well. So it is a private Discord. If you guys would like to join, which I would highly encourage, if you want to trade full time, be a professional trader, there's no better way than doing it alongside a bunch of others that are in the group. So we actually have over 1,000 members. $25 a month for a monthly, or if you want to do a year, $147, and that's actually 50% off the monthly rate. And then also we have the Shiler, who's the crypto hippo, actually just launched a Elliott Wave masterclass for $97. That is also going to be going up here in the near term future as well. So if you guys are looking for some educational courses, definitely invest in yourself, and I hope to see you guys in the Discord. So I'm actually going to be starting off in there as well. Let's see. I'll highlight a couple things from the last video. Get over here. All right, so from the last video that I did, it played out actually quite beautifully. I was looking for a move on Bitcoin to get up to 10K, and I was posting updates of what the count was. We got up here to the 1.618 at about roughly 9650, almost 9700. I was looking for some kind of reaction here, whether it's going to be the fourth wave pullback or come back down impulsively for a C wave. And we did see the slight pullback right here. Again, that's the larger view, and where we got our last pump up here for the fifth wave for my count to 10,000. So it played out beautifully. On ETH afterwards was a little bit more bearish. We weren't seeing the pumps on ETH or alts in general that we were seeing on Bitcoin. So I was looking for more of a corrective structure. For an ultimate take profit zone of down here at about 185 on ETH, and sure enough, we got that dump. Actually, I think it was 2 days later. It was Saturday where we got that large dump to the downside, and ultimately kind of really some ideas of pivot points, how we are going to react to it, where we're going to go from there. The other elite traders, full-time professional traders, is obviously the Crypto Hippo. We have Dragonfly on there, myself, Odie, Upland, and then a questions section for anyone to post questions on charts, some feedback that they have on ours, questions on their own charts. We have our signals group, and then even starting up here at the top, we have some education. So starting off with trading basics, all the way into some specific trading strategies. So I definitely encourage you to join, and I hope to see you guys in there. So let's actually go ahead and dive into the charts here. I'm going to start off on ETH and looking at a couple different things from a macro view on ETH, and it's really just going to depend on where the fifth wave came down to on this move. whether it ended here or whether it ended here. And that's kind of what we ultimately need to figure out. In a larger time frame, this looks like a 3-wave move instead of a 5. And that is something to consider. But if we did end here, we pull our fib extensions from these points. And let's hug it right up there. You can see that it tags the 1.618 absolutely beautifully on this move, which is a corrective measurement when we see a strong reaction from it. So if it's this move here, obviously this is a 3-wave move right here. Boom, boom, boom. Not a 5-wave move. So that starting off in a 3-wave means that it is a corrective nature and it is not going to be an impulsive move, meaning that this whole move up is correctively, meaning that we are going to come back down to reset to possibly take off for another impulsive move. And I will look more of it as a WXY. So starting there, WX, and then right here would be our Y wave. Again, it's a 3-wave move right here in the middle for a zigzag for a 5, 3, and another 5. So that move says that we're done. We are coming back down, and we need to set in a new low before we can really take off for a new impulsive move up. And when I say a new low, it doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be a lower low, but we do need to come back down, reset, and ultimately take off. And the wave structure coming down is what we want to pay attention to let's see exactly how low can we potentially move down before we reset. Now, the other one, which I'm not leaning towards just based upon what the overall count is, would be a bull count saying that this is a wave 3 that we're in, coming back down for a 4th wave. So that changes where we pull the fib to right here, because this is a 5-wave move. So that would then change this overall to impulsive. So 5 would start there for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be a 3rd, and then up again for the 4th, which we did move beyond the 1.618, which, oops, let me change that. Sorry, guys. That was just for the 3rd wave. All right, so it looked like this, which we did move beyond the 1.618, which, it is an alt, so it can overextend a little bit. But it's, it doesn't match up as clean as what the corrective move does, which is, the way that I'm leaning. Plus, this would have to be, being its third wave, we would have to have 5 waves inside of it, meaning that this would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And, right here is just really my biggest holdup is it does not look that clean. To be impulsive in my eyes. Really only way possibly right here, but even just right here we have a 3-wave move. It's 1, 2, and 3. Like it just does not match up. So that's my biggest holdup for trying to make this a impulsive move up. It just doesn't it doesn't have the symmetry that I'm looking for an impulsive move. It looks more corrective in my eyes. So I'm leaning more of this being the WXY. And we are on our way back down to set in a new correction to hopefully take off for a new bull run. So let's look at the GAN. What's the GAN telling us here? So we are coming up on a fib level here, really just riding the trend line. If we do lose this trend line, here is support. Our next major area of support per the GAN chart is right down around 140. Now, pretty heavy resistance and support zone here overall in general. Kind of see that it was support here, we are below it a little bit. And, going all the way back to here, that we had our resistance here turning into support here. So if we do lose this, I would be looking for overall a move down to about 140, 139, depending on the time frame. Again, this is the daily, so the moves are a little bit more drastic. We can just have one red earthy candle all the way down, or we can kind of stair step depending on the move. Overall this does look pretty three-wave, which doesn't necessarily look impulsive, but that'll kind of set us off for how we're going to move down from this next move of how we react if we pump up or if we get the move down. So that's ultimately what I'm going to be looking for right here. So let's go ahead and dive into the 4 hour. Oops, sorry guys, let's flip that. All right, so 4 hour on ETH, we'll go ahead and keep it on the Gann chart. Looks like we are coming up on a time fractal here on the 13th. So looks like that would be Wednesday. Yep, Wednesday the 13th, coming up on a time fractal. It's also right here, kind of on this pivot point zone here, which is kind of where we like to see the trend lines break. Usually most of the time on ETH, it's normally where trend lines cross. So, we can kind of just bounce around sideways potentially right here in this zone and, get our reaction roughly around here or even a little bit afterwards around this zone here. But trend line going down to 178. Next one after that, obviously quite a bit lower, around 160. So on the flip side, if you do move up, we do have some resistance back around the $200 mark, 197, 198. Even with this one here, again, same ballpark, but after that, we would have a little bit more room to get back up to the upside, up to the 220 mark, which was the 0.5 fib on the Gann chart, which we saw a pretty heavy rejection from. Let's get back to just a general count. Come on, TradingView. All right. All right, so this is what I was looking for from overall on the move down. The 185 is the take profit zone, which was a extension from this ABC. So I'll show you how I pulled the fib on that. So I did the trend based fib for, oops, and this as three-wave move for the A, back up for the B. You can see that 1-to-1 is what I was looking at for that 185 take profit zone right there. So played out beautifully. It's kind of what we're sitting on right now is that 185 mark. And kind of just bounce around 185, 190 in this zone here. If we do get some moves up, I'd be looking for our next move up to be around 194. If we break that next one for resistance, from what I'm looking for, would be 209. And then flip on the downside for next support around 178 to about 168 if we do lose further to the downside. So it still doesn't exactly come off impulsively to the downside. It looks a little bit more corrective. So which we could potentially be in a C wave. But this being it's a C wave, it does need to have a 5-wave move to it. So I'd be looking at, this is the 1, 2, so be an extended third. So drag out for the 4th. We can come back down, set a little bit lower low, tag that 178, and then be done with the C wave, and then carry on with a correction, or potentially how we pivot from the low to get us back up is what we'd want to see. If we come off with a 5-wave, then we know we have some continuation going up to the upside. Or if it's another 3-wave up, then we're just going to just dance around corrective in this particular zone, and we'll kind of go from there. So that's what I'm looking for on ETH, guys. So far, the wave structure has been fairly cleared. It's been playing out pretty well. We just need to see what kind of reaction we're going to get here to see if, right here, if this is the low, or if we're going to have one more move down, which, we kind of already technically did with this move here. And this, we could be looking at our next correction already playing out right here. So speaking of which, let's actually go ahead and look at the 15-minute real quick. So if we had that move down, that was like around 178. I mean, it still kind of looks. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of one of those. It's a little bit messy. Obviously, we have a three wave right here, and so that's kind of what it just looks like to be, again, a little bit more correction. Having a hard time really getting over that 190 mark. Every time we get back to it, we tend to get rejected and shut back down. We can see we've been really just riding underneath the bullish control zone on the RSI for quite some time. We are printing some bearish divergence on the index, so it's not looking super strong up here. Looks like again, we're just hitting our head on it. Eventually, if you hit our head on it enough times, we could potentially break through it, but it's just been rejection after rejection after rejection. So I would potentially really be looking for another leg down, and come back down, reset, and see what kind of reaction we get. So potentially another move back down, 178-ish. The other target, 168 maybe, but we'll kind of see what it plays out to. Is we've just been kind of bounce around in correction land. So that's what I got for ETH, guys. Let's go ahead and jump over to Bitcoin. So let's look at Bitcoin here. So again, guys, I do Bitcoin and ETH together just because they have a 98% correlation between the two. So their wave structures are normally different. However, their moves are pretty close to the same. And that's really why I like to look at the two, just because sometimes one will offer a little bit more clarity than what the other one will. So looking again, let's look at the daily here, because so they're kind of goes back to that same count that I had with ETH in regards to, can we have what's the bull count, what's the bear count on the macro? So similar thing. So depending on where this move comes down to, and that's when we'll look at extensions for confluence. So this playing out looks a lot cleaner to potentially play out to be an impulsive wave than what ETH does. So if we had this come down and end here for the 5-wave move at the 4340 versus the 3700. So if this started our wave one, so 1, 2, 3 wave correction for our 2, and then up again for our 5th. So it does have a cleaner count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So it has a much cleaner count for a 3-wave in this than what ETH does. And same thing where it does tag the 1.618, which makes sense. It's great for a 3rd wave. Retrace back down for a 4th, and then we would go up again for a 5th, which would put us at a target of about 11,570. I'll throw a tag on that. So that would be the overall larger bull count. Now, what I'm concerned with to have this being a 4th wave is how hard this was rejected right at the $10,000 mark. And we'll look at the small wave structure in a smaller time frame, but this looks pretty impulsive. Normally these really hard corrections or hard moves, whether they are bearish or bullish, generally have a 5-way structure in there when it's something this large, something to this degree with power. So that's what I'm somewhat concerned with. You can see in here we had a pretty clear 3-wave move. It was a corrective move. Same thing, corrective move, which because of the rejection we got here, again, it is making me lean a little bit more towards the corrective move up, where this whole thing would end up being a WXY instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would start here and overall have the WXY, with this being the ABC for the 3-wave move because we can count a pretty good 5-wave structure right here. So let's get this off the table, make it a little bit cleaner for you guys to see. And let's get the 5-wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, which is great for a C wave. We have our 3-wave move here. We have our 3-wave move right here for the W. Boom, boom, boom. And the 3-wave move and the X. Boom, boom, boom. Putting us up to the 1.236 extension, a little past the $9,900 mark, which, you know, it's okay. You know, extensions don't have to line up to a T, but it kind of gives us that pocket zone. So that's what I'm looking at from a macro view. And if this is a impulsive move down, potentially, you know, depending where we retrace, if this, you know, is a wave 1, we can be looking to come back down and retest the $4,000 range. If this is a wave 1, depending where it retraces up to, you know, if it doesn't go any higher for a wave 2, we kind of just bounce around within here. Again, you know, 4,400 roughly is where I'd be looking at to come back down to, and having this be a all one move here, basically a 5-3 and a 5. And then once we have this low set in, then we could, you know, potentially take off. So that is the way that I am particularly leaning at the moment. Again, this, you know, overall it looks pretty corrective to me. This is the count that I'm leaning towards going with. You know, it's for the, you know, overall bull count to get up to 11,600, in my eyes, gets invalidated roughly around 7,000. So if we go into the $7,000, a little bit below 6,900, that invalidates this count, you know, 100% in my eyes. It completely wipes the bull count off the table. Let's look at the Gann chart on the daily here. See where we're at. So we have the all-important halving, and you can kind of see where we lost this trend line for support, and we're looking right here about the $8,000 one. So we'll see what this particularly does, see what it kind of see how we write it out. Looks like some of the smaller time frame Gann charts might give us a little bit better idea, but we'll be looking roughly around the $8,000. If we do, you know, move up, then we're again kind of back around the 9,500 for a resistance. So let's look at the 4-hour here. So you can kind of see, you know, that does look like a 5-wave move with an extended 5th wave. Start us off, and then right here we are in our correction land. And that's going to be what's going to be important to see how we react to it. So you can see the last post I did from the Discord, we were right here at that decision point where we needed to make a decision if we're going to follow this trend line up, get back up towards, you know, $10,500 was going to be the next range, 10,003, 10,005, somewhere within there. And again, on the Gann, it's, you know, where the trend lines intersect tends to be the weak points, and that's generally where we break up or break down. You can see right here at this cross, it's where we broke down, came down, found our support right at the $8,100 mark. Looks like we're coming up on another trend line that would act as resistance above it. So right at the $8,900 mark, you'd have a cross here. So potentially we, you know, if we have some strength, try and break up, or we have the other one that's going to help, you know, push us back down to the downside, getting us back down around the $8,000 mark. So let's look at the smaller time frame on the 15-minute. So this is what I was looking at before, to where I was saying before, it looks pretty impulsive. So the way that I'm looking at it would be our wave 1, 2, with an extended 5th. You know, it's I mean, I can count 5 waves. Normally our third wave will tag the 1.618. We didn't quite get there. So it doesn't exactly look the best. It's either that or, potentially it's an ABC where this was our A, B, and then super extended C, but even, and I don't know if I'll really like that much either. So that's really the way that I'm leaning, is to make this more impulsive. It's kind of hard to look at it when the extensions don't match up the best. But what you want to pay attention to is, can you make 5 waves out of it? I can count a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there, with a 3-wave move in between these. So that's the biggest thing I look for. Wave 3 isn't going to be the smallest wave in this, so that would still apply. And I was looking. The only thing is, wave 4 does go into wave 1 territory a little bit by that wick. So I mean, it's not the cleanest move. So it's kind of hard to say for sure exactly what we're going to be looking at with this. But obviously, this move here was pretty extended. We could even. I don't think that would work. So we're gonna have to see what this plays out to be, to see what kind of measurements we can get with everything that's in there, to whether maybe this overall is just going to be our third wave, where we have our super extended third wave, then this becomes our fourth, and then back down again for our fifth, which would make a little bit more sense from a symmetry view. So that's what we kind of need to look for, because depending how we react to whether we continue to go down or go back up, that's going to be what we want to pay attention to for ultimately some targets. Kind of where we're moving right now, I would say is a little bit more an A, B, C, D. I don't like that either. I have to start down from the top. So maybe there are a couple things that it can be making that formation. However, the RSI doesn't exactly match to it. It would almost have to be. So I'm trying to compare it to the RSI to get it to make sense. But it have to be, that would be the A, B, C, D. Something along those lines. We'd have a 3-wave move, except for right here. And normally we would look at a 3-wave, 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 which we have, except for when it comes to this one right here. This one looks to be more of a 5-wave. So we can still kind of form that formation without it actually being a triangle. But you can see right here we have a 5-wave move down. We have another 5-wave move here. So this looks to be more of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks to be something along those lines. Looks like we did just break that trend line we had going up to. So listen, a little bit of support on that move up. I would allow this. Looks like it only goes into it from a wick on a 15-minute. And let's go and pull the fib real quick on it and see what. Yeah, so that would match up right here for a third wave. Back down here. So we're in that zone for the 5-wave down, back down to 8K. Interesting. So overall, this could be, I mean, could end up just being a wave 4 with a truncated fifth. I'd probably call it like that, ABC. So yeah, so we could potentially be having this form play out right here for the move back down to about 8K. Having this be an impulsive 5-wave move down. Obviously, with this huge drop that we had on Saturday, it's throwing the symmetry off a little bit just because it's not exactly the cleanest. You know, if you look at this right here, that's a clean impulsive wave up. But obviously, we have a couple other things in play, and just trying to make a lot of sense of how this move, potentially can continue us to the downside or potentially flip bullish, is what we want to look at and pay attention to. Everything I'm seeing right here, I'm not seeing any kind of 5-wave move. Everything looks very 3-wave corrective structure. Even right here, it looks very 3-wave corrective structure in my eyes. So it's kind of I don't see us having a very bullish scenario play out. We are, at a current resistance zone. It was support right here, but 8,600 is, now resistance, as we've been rejected on it a couple times as we try to get back into it. So it's looking a little bearish in my eyes. Looking at a couple of things from an indicator standpoint on the 15-minute, we are going back down into the bearish control zone after getting rejected at the bullish control zone, going back down into the bearish zone. It's like some of the other indicators are resetting pretty heavily though, so we may continue a little bit of an uptrend here. So with the Stokes coming down, bottoming out, the Constance Brown index coming down and bottoming out, so those are resetting a little bit on the 15-minute. So we might kind of just dance around there, but overall on the 1 hour, yeah, we're still at the tops of them on the 1 hour. Right in the neutral zone on the RSI. Same thing on the Constance Brown Index. We're at the tops for the Stokes for the 1 hour. Looks like we're about to curl over. So on the higher time frames, we are getting a little maxed out on some of the indicators. That's what we'll want to be paying attention to. So let's get back to the 15 minutes. So sorry guys, I know it's a little bit longer than what I normally do. I wanted to give a little bit more of a raw count so you guys kind of see what I look at mostly from a technical analysis standpoint, how I make some of my decisions. If we do continue to move up, which we absolutely can, it would be a little bit more corrective in my eyes. I don't see us coming up impulsively, so we can move up corrective all day long, but just means that we're going to reset a little bit harder to the downside to have us start with that 5-wave move up that would potentially get us up to newer highs. Yeah, this whole thing just looks pretty corrective in my eyes, so hard to make a impulsive case to get us up a little bit higher. So I think we're gonna have to come back down, reset, and get us back up to the upside. If we do, have continue movement up, I'd still be looking for roughly around $9,000 at that resistance mark where we got rejected before, right here in this zone. And then ultimately, again, like I said, we would have to come back down to reset a low. Potentially do something like boom, boom, right here for that move up. So get us back around the excuse me, the $9,000 range. But like I said, then we would need to probably come back down with a 5-wave structure to where this would be your A, or potentially like a W, X, and a Y up, and then come back down for a 5-wave reset, and then get us back up to the upside. So really looking to play, within this zone. Some of the higher time frames looking a little bit more bearish. 15-minute was looking a little bottomed out, so we may see a little bit more of a pump, but Ultimately, looking a little bit more for some further downside before we see anything. So $8,000 tends to be my sticking point for Bitcoin right now. So that's going to be the targets I'm going to be looking for. But it's also going to determine, right here, this will give us a good indication of how we're going to move down. So if we, start to kick off with some 5-wave moves, $8,000 is going to be more likely than the $9,000. So I hope to see you guys in the Discord. And again, if you like my content, subscribe, smash the likes, leave some comments, and I will talk to you guys later.